Hi everyone, welcome to Chavanji, my YouTube channel where we talk about business, finance and life in general. In this particular video, I'm going to be talking about, or I'm just going to be showing you how I budget for my money. And there's 50, 30 and 20% rule. However, I don't use that. So 50, 30 and 20% rule is basically where 50% of your finances or your money goes towards your needs. So things that you can't do without. So basically that would be your rent or mortgage, gas and electric, water bill, council tax here in the UK, and then things like that. And then 30% goes towards your need, and then 20% goes towards your savings. And the savings ideally have to cover between 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenditure. But for you to be able to work towards that, you have to know how much money you spend on your needs and your wants. So your wants are things that you can do without. For instance, clothes, shoes, bags. Sometimes you have enough, but because we live into this consumerization environment where we're always, there's always advertisements for new clothes, new style, and things like that. You're tempted to actually go ahead and buy something that's in style, if you know what I mean. So just head over here and I'll show you how I budget for my money. Right then, so here's my budget and we're just going to budget. I'm just going to show you how I budget for my income. Now, this is my net pay, whatever gets into my account after the pension has been taken off, or the NI it's been taken off, and then the pay as you earn. So whatever tax I've got to pay, when that's all taken off, whatever gets into my account is the net pay, and that's what we're going to be budgeting. So I've got no partner, so that is my salary that I get every month, which is £2,000, just over £2,000. Wanted to round it off because normally it's about 205 or 206, occasionally be 100, 210, depending if I've done so many nights or anything like that, or I've done any bank holidays or public holidays, depending where you are in the country or wherever you are in the world. So I receive no benefits. And then my other income, so I do an extra shift every week and we're paid weekly. So every 4 weeks, I take home £880. It's not like 220. Particularly this month, it's almost £300. That is because we are now having an escalated rate is lasting up until the end of September. At the time of shooting this video, so we're in September, any extra shifts that anybody does, they can choose that to be paid at the end of the month, or they can have that paid every week. I prefer weekly. So my total is just shy of £3,000. Now, as you know, I'm very big on savings, hence why on my budget, my first expenditure is my savings. So I pay myself first, and that money goes into my stocks and shares ISA. An ISA is an individual savings account that anybody can have. It could be through your stocks and shares, or it can be a cash ISA. But I prefer the stocks and shares because then my money is working for me. Now, what you need to remember is all the money that you invest in stocks and shares, or on the stocks or in the stocks and shares account, that money you can't get back. So basically, you're willing to lose that money. So every month, I pay in £600, and then I've got the sinking fund. So that sinking fund, this is the money that I pay into an account, and this account is meant to cover all my bills, particularly my annual bills. So instead of me paying bills every month, I pay bills annually. So I'll explain that further down. Now that money goes into the sinking fund, and then the emergency fund, if anything was to go wrong, or and this emergency fund is meant to cover ideally 3 to 6 months. But I've been saving up quite a lot. It covers up to almost 2 years worth my savings. So if I didn't have to work for 2 years, I'm covered for that period before I get a job, if I'm unwell, before I get back to work. Now, what you need to understand is this plays about with inflation as well. So obviously that money is not, if it's not into any if you're not using that money to work for you, it means you're going to be losing out basically due to inflation. So, and then charity. So I've got two charities that are dear to me, and that is the Cancer Research UK, because my mom died of cancer. She was diagnosed with bowel cancer. And then I also pay into the Women's Aid. Basically, it's the charity that takes care of women who have suffered domestic violence. So it goes into that charity, that charity box, and then whatever they use it for, all I have to do is just pay into it, and that is monthly. I did request if I could do that. I could just pay a lump sum, and I'm thinking of doing that. So very soon that will go as well. So I'll be paying that annually. And then the essential bills. Now, when we talked about the 50% going towards your needs, now these are the things that you need for you to function: a roof over your head, gas and electric, a phone bill. I mean, who doesn't need a phone these days? A phone is pretty much everything, it's pretty much your life. In a way. So I put that as an essential. And then water. So as you can see, with my mortgage, I pay £600 towards my mortgage. Now, what you need to understand is, with this mortgage repayment, I am overpaying. So I'm overpaying 10% of what I'm meant to pay. This is because when you do any overpayments, so it takes shorter for you to repay the loan. So basically, if you were to repay the loan for 25 years, any 10% payment that you overpay brings that to, I think my maths tells me, 2 years short. So which makes it, that money, you can use that money into something else. So, but before you do any overpayments, you have to make sure that you speak to your bank for them to, or any mortgage provider, to ensure that they agree for you to make an overpayment before you actually go ahead. Otherwise, you're going to end up being charged or penalized for that. Council tax, again, another tax that I pay annually. So at the beginning of every financial year, when that comes through, I pay that annually. Gas and electric. Now, this varies. At the moment, we're in the winter months. We're in the summer months. So it's quite low. I was contacted by the provider and they were telling me if I wanted to reduce that, but I didn't want to, because once we go back into winter, we have more winter months than the summer months. It means it's going to go up again, so I have to readjust that. So at the moment, my account is in credit because of that, and to be honest, I don't mind that. And then phone bill. Now I've got a SIM only contract. Basically, all I'm paying for is the SIM for my service provider, because I'm with 3 at the moment. I'm only paying £10 a month. And then water bill, again, my water bill, I'm in credit because of my water bill. So when you paid initially, when I want to say about 6 years ago, I decided to pay an overpayment of what had been quoted. Since then, I've always been in credit, but sometimes they'll rejig and then they'll send out a letter and then they'll tell you, oh, you've got this much in credit, we're going to reduce. So if it's, I don't know how they do it, but they get to a point where you're so much in credit, then they have to reduce your monthly payments for your water bill. And then insurances. So contents insurance, again, I pay that annually. Bills insurance, we don't have to pay that. Car insurance, that's another annual payment. I don't have any pets. Boiler, that is covered under my contents insurance. Again, it's annually. And then life insurance, again, I pay life insurance, and I've been paying for the last almost 12 years. So with the life insurance, this is money that is going to be paid out to my loved ones if I was to die today or tomorrow. But every 5 years, they end up getting more and more and more. So the longer I live, the more they're going to get paid. So, but this money, the beneficiaries for my life insurance are my nieces and nephews, not my siblings. Obviously not my mom, because my mom's passed away. So it's just my nieces and nephews. They are the beneficiaries of my life insurance. Variables. So with the variables, this is things that pretty much that vary, but you have to pay on a monthly basis. This includes your shopping and food and groceries. Now, most of my groceries, I buy them in bulk and then put them in the freezer. And then things like rice, I buy a big sack of rice, 20 kgs, and I keep that in the house. Sugar is the same, I buy like 10 kgs. Cereals, I'll buy that big tubs, toilet rolls, so things like that. All my household shopping. I actually do like a massive shopping. So sometimes I don't even end up using this £100. I might end up doing a shopping of about £50 because I've got everything already at home. Pet food, again, I don't have any pets. Petrol and diesel. So I fuel my car and I do a full tank, which takes me about just over 3 months. So which means every month, fuel that is up to £60. Sometimes about 58, but I'll round that off to 50, 60. So with that, it means that every month it works out to be £20 that I'm spending on petrol. Self-grooming, again, that is very cheap for me because most of the time I'm wearing wigs or I'm wearing braids. We do tend to wear a lot of protective hairstyles as black girls. Unlike when I was back home in Uganda, I rarely wore any protective hairstyles. I'll do cornrows for about 3 weeks and I'll take that out. Whereas living here, you don't even have that time because of the way we work. You don't have the time to go on to the hairdressers all the time. So you end up spending very, very little money. So most things that I do is around doing my eyebrows or doing my facial, and that varies as well. So yeah, parking, I don't have to pay for any parking. And then these, the lifestyle ones, are very optional. So entertainment. Now, entertainment for me is things going out for a meal, spa days, and a lot of these spa days that we go to, me and my girlfriends, that we actually get coupons because majority of us work for the NHS, so we do get discount codes like about 20 or 30%. We end up paying like about 40 for a spa for the whole day. You have your pedicure, have a manicure, full body massage, you have your facial, you have a head massage, and it's quite cheap. And we do this every month without fail. Sometimes people cannot come because they're married with kids, so they might be going out with their partners or with their husbands or wives. So it's hard for them to actually come along. And then internet. So I do use internet, obviously, but that comes down as an expense for my business because I use a lot of internet for my business. Hence why I put that payment down onto my business account or as down as my business expense. TV license, again, something that I pay annually. And then TV packages. So I've got Netflix. I don't have anything else. I rarely pay for the telly. I rarely watch the telly, to be honest. Most of the time I'm on my phone, or if I'm watching the telly, I'm going to be watching YouTube on the telly, if you know what I mean. So again, TV packages, I don't spend a lot. I do have credit cards, both for my business and for personal use. However, I don't have anything to pay at the moment, hence why it's zero. Now, as you can see, my total is shy of £3,000, and then my expenditure is just shy of £2,500. So that's what I tend to remain with after I've paid off everything. And I'm sure if I didn't do this, I probably will be in, living paycheck to paycheck. It's not great, but it's better. So yeah, that is my budget. And you can download this on Etsy and use the same thing to budget for your finances. Yeah, so as you've just seen, so I do pay myself quite a big lump sum, and I'm so big on saving. But then when you save, you have to make sure that money actually works for you. Hence why I invest in the stock market, into my business and things like that. So I could have that money work in the background. And with the stocks and shares accounts or the ETFs that I chose or the funds that I chose, they are passive as well because you could have them active where somebody actually manages your your funds, or you could have them passive, where it's just automatically does itself. It does everything in the background. Don't have to worry about anything. Nobody's there to manage, because you can't beat the economy. Now, as I always say, I want you to visualize your higher self and show up as them. Don't forget to log on to Etsy and then download the budget tool that you can use to also budget your funds. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you again. Bye.